so many trees. Everyone, welcome back to another episode of Bonsai Apprentice. I'm your host, Zane. It's great to be here. As you can tell, today I'm surrounded by multiple different types of trees, multiple of those same trees. But the reason we're here today is because we're doing some summer management, and a lot of it's the same. And a lot of these trees really only need one, maybe two cuts at the most. So I'm just grouping them together to talk about them as a group and how they respond individually when we get there. But the process of all of this is the same. So I'm not really worried about, how do we tackle my black luctus tree versus the elm versus these red buds that we got. We're just going to be talking about, all right, so we're going to cut back these red buds. They're going to act the same way as the elms, same as the black luctus. A lot of these deciduous trees are all going to act the same. It's just time to get that work done. So I'm grouping them all together because a lot of these, this elm here is only going to need two cuts. This elm here only going to need two cuts. So we're cutting and we're doing that, but it's a lot of just the same little bits of work. The black luctus tree will have an extra added element to it, which we'll get to when we get to it, but really it's all just the same process. So stay tuned, like, share, subscribe, join the community. We're growing every day. It's awesome. I'm having a blast, and we're just getting this work done. It's the end of July, so hopefully you're having a good summer, staying cool. So without further ado, though, let's flip this around. We're going to start with the elms. I think they're the easiest, they're the smallest and easiest to manage. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. All right, so we flipped it around. So we're going to start with the elms. And before I get to this one, let's start with our trained elm here. So this is it's in a blue pot. It's got quite a few leaves on only 2 branches. We got this branch, which is dead, which needs lime sulfuring. We have that's lime sulfur. This nice blue pot, but it doesn't really look that great. So first I'm going to take off this leaf, so I can just open up and see this better. So when I envision this tree, I envision a very angled and crazy tree. So if that's kind of the front right there, I imagine, kind of almost like a dual apex. So what I want to do is come back. I'm going to cut this top part off here. And then I'm going to come in, and I think I'm going to shorten this as well to here. All right, so after those 2 cuts, we're managing something that is looking like this, which I think is going to start looking really good once those leaves get to a much smaller section, right? So these leaves are big right now because the tree's becoming highly developed and more ramified, but as they continue to grow, they'll look more similar to the other sizes we see on the other trees. This one was late coming out and definitely still needing a lot of growth, but it's starting to look really, really good. So I'm excited for what this tree holds. So that's for that one. Let's just go ahead, move to this one over here. That's all sorts of all over the place. So there's 2 in here. We kind of have this rafty one here, which is really, really weird base. Let me show you that. So I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of got this weird base here. There's a stone in here that they're growing over. And it's all experimental, so I was just messing around with it, but it's kind of got a weird kink to it right there. It's got a weird lateral growth pattern, so I'm not really sure with this one. I think I'm just going to leave it. But this other one, if you're taking it as the approach of a formal upright, it's very, very tall. It's got a lot of ramification in different spots. So we need to go through and thin, and I think we could start to build the second one here as a more formal upright tree once this gets repotted. So really my goal here is just to continue to clean out and push in some of these shoots that are longer. So first off, I'm going to take this one off. That's growing straight up. I don't really want it there. And then I think what I'm going to do is cut this shoot really hard back. We'll cut this shoot really hard back. This other shoot. And then we'll come up to this really, really long apex for no reason. We'll cut that back to there to leave kind of a... and we'll cut this shoot too. To kind of just shorten everything, compact it, make it look a little bit more compact and better. So I had some interest in these elms a while back. People asked me what they were. As far as I can tell, I think they're Siberian elms or American. And the reason I say it's either or is because of how small the leaves are. Siberian tend to be smaller leaf variety, but they also could just be because it's in a pot, but the serrated edges seem to be the same for those two from what I can tell. And we have both around here in Missouri. The Siberian is an imported, obviously, but it grows very well in Missouri. So, you know, it's a little difficult to say which is which. But all right, so here's my last elm. So this all this cutting is to push, ramify back growth, ramify taper. So keep all of that in mind. So this is the front of the tree here. And well, look right there. All right, so you're looking at this. This is healing up really nicely, and I'll show you the cut on the back that's healing up really nicely. Something came and broke this branch off. Focus. Broke this branch off, unfortunately, but this other one survived and is starting to taper out really, really nice. So what we're gonna do today is go cut this back up here hard. We'll go ahead and do that. So we're gonna cut it right back to these two right here. Ooh. There we go. And so now we got more compact. We're gonna cut this one back too, to there. So we got more compact. And really with that, we have a bunch of cluster here. Focus, no, right here. We have a bunch of cluster here. I'm gonna take out this more vertical shoot. And then we have this other shoot here that's thicker I'm gonna take out. And that should just about do it. I'm gonna cut this shoot here too. There we go. And that'll do it for all of our elms. So again, I'll save these as cuttings, see what I can get to grow, and see what I can do. All right, so here we are. Nice leaves, big though, big leaves. And that's just because this tree, these were all repotted this year. So simple cuts here. Not to waste your time, but I'm coming back. Nice alternating leaf pattern. I'm gonna come up to about halfway, cut it, leave room for dieback. I'm assuming that these will propagate if I want them to. I just don't really care to propagate these. I got them all really cheap, and I think it'll be more effort than it's worth to keep, but I think they probably will. So I'm just going to do the same thing, 3 or 4 up, just every cut, compared to its other counterparts, which are rather large. Some shoddy film work. We do have some, burnt, so that's one reason I'm cutting these back too. Get rid of that. Just continue to create taper. There it goes to the ground. That's where I cut off, right in there. So we'll come to this other branch, cut that one too. And, you know, we're just got, this one's really tall, so I'm going to cut it really back.
That one didn't work. There we go. Lots of them are tall, Steve.
Leaving more branches as I go down to continue to build taper. And when we're done, although that one's still high, there's nothing really below. All right, so final product, you know, we cut off all those big long branches. It's nice and compact. We'll start to push more and ramify more and hopefully get some smaller leaves. We're just going to be doing the same thing to this other batch here. There's 10 in total. So, yeah, we have a lot. We got a couple more cuts. All right, so because these are smaller, you'll actually be able to see these in frame. The other one was just so big. So, again, I mean, it's kind of like just a group planting right now. There's not really a big style for it. I just want to get some of these longer shoots off and continue to build that ramification in this tree. So, they're nice trees. I got them all this year. They've responded really well to growth, and they've put on a lot of new growth. So, you know, they were just shipped to me potted up as seedlings. These are also from the Missouri Conservation Center. So, you know, they do a sale every year for them. You can go pick them up and enjoy them. So, that's all really the cuts I'm going to do. I'm going to even cut that little bit off there. But that's all the cuts on that. Just to keep them in shape, build taper, promote back budding, you know, let these grow more. So that's about all for the red buds. And now we're going to go to the black luctus tree. All right. So we have a rather overgrown black luctus tree here. So lots of really good stuff. This branch is thickening up really, really nice that we guide wired down. But we have way too much foliage on this top half still. It's starting to thicken up again. So we're going to cut this part back, allow this to continue to grow. Okay. So another part about this tree is they continually shed this inside growth to make way for new growth, which is really interesting. It's a quirk of this tree to keep in mind. We did have some aphids on this tree a while back, so I'll be looking for those again to make sure we've got rid of all of them. And if I find them, it's just the soap water mixture that I used to kill all of them. So we'll see once we cut the branches off if we have any. So I'm gonna bring you guys in. Look how thick this part, this like leading part is already compared to, you know, the stuff out here. It's still pretty thick. So we need to continue to come in, keep this short. Okay, and it also is getting really, really crowded in here. So I'm gonna look down here. Lots of nice small stuff in the back. Very close ramification. I'm gonna cut it literally, quite literally, all the way back to here. Remove this entire section. Okay. And you can just see now how much this part in its own right has opened up. Now, we got a branch growing back. It's not really a problem, but I want to make sure that this stuff's not getting shaded out. And although it's on that leading branch to thicken, I can't allow that branch to compromise what's happening in here, okay? So we have some dieback here. We'll cut that off. Okay, we got some more dieback over here. We'll cut that off. And that was just stuff that was weak, didn't really pop out last year. So that's okay. I think that was all stuff I cut to die back to this spot. Anyways, I'd have to go back and check the video. This lower branch that we were really excited that popped out on finally this half of the tree is taking off, looking really, really good. So you can see, you know, this is the only branch that's coming out on this side. And now we finally have something and it's taking off. So we've done our job to keep this alive and make sure it's doing really well. As you can see, though, we still have a very strong branch here that we need to come and tackle. And I'm going to show you guys the underneath here. So this is that really strong branch. And it leads a lot more up. Ooh. There we go, all the way to the tip there. So when looking at the taper between these two, this is our main trunk line, but everything coming off has to stay relatively thin. So I'm gonna remove this. All right, we have a shoot on this one that's keeping it alive. So I'm gonna come back looking in here. I'm gonna come back honestly really hard to 2 or 3, and I'm gonna cut that and remove this totally. That's a huge chunk of weight coming off this tree. Okay, so really heavy piece coming off. And you can start to see now the smaller shoots inside looking a lot better and not being pulled every which way. So we're starting, it's looking a lot better on that inside. So that's good signs. Like I said, this inside stuff will shed and then new stuff will grow. It's just the process of what this tree will do long term. So we'll just continue to keep that in check and in motion. You're looking at like what would be probably the preferred front, but we got to tackle this root next. So I mentioned last spring that we would be tackling this root come midsummer. Well, here we are. So what you see is me I took off half. So now what we're going to do though is take off more. So we're going to come back in. We're just going to continue to remove root. And I want to continue this process. So when we remove this root completely, when, we've already built root. Ooh, sorry, I just cut it. But we've continued to build root in here down at the base and not rely so much on this one thick heavy root here. So by reducing that foliar mass and by reducing the tree rooting, because this does have roots, it's not dead or whatever. So we've just continued to remove that, harm this root in a way that it will take a lot to repair itself, and then that'll give rise to more roots in the base here to build a better nabari long term. Okay, so that's what we're doing. So when we cut this root off, it won't have much to it. Hopefully that is the idea and the goal, and that the rest of these roots are what's stimulating the growth in the tree, because that root's so high up, it's unsightly, needs to go. Okay, so let me show you what we have completely right now. All right, so before we do like the full tour, I just want to show. So we cut that piece off, and then the biggest piece, that piece off. Okay, so we cut a bunch off. That'll perpetuate back budding in these branches, keep them nice, small, compact. I did a look for aphids. I didn't see any more, so we should be good to go. Obviously, we have this big back branch, which is carrying a lot of weight to thicken this branch up. I think by the end of fall, I'll be able to cut that branch off completely and not have to worry about taper issues for a while looking at that branch. This branch next year will be the one we'll have to build in a similar manner, but because this tree grows so fast, I think we'll be okay. I'm continuously looking at it and saying, wow, the progression of this tree over the course of just 3 years now, from a seedling that I dug out the ground about this thick, honestly, and it's turned into this. So it's just masterfully grown, been greatly appreciated, and it loves the substrate, loves what it's got going for it. So the next step again for this tree would be working on the nabari long term, and just continuing to develop branching in this tree. So I hope you guys enjoyed. This is all just a short video of just cuttings, different types of trees, very little work on anything else. So hopefully you got something out of it. It's always a great time to work on different types of trees and put them all together. So hopefully you enjoyed, and until next time, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and until next time, sayonara.